A few weeks ago, a creator named Morgan, aka Morgue Design, made a video accusing me of running a pyramid scheme and argued that I don't make enough art or enough money from my art to call myself an artist. Today, I want to respond to those claims, and I also want to zoom out and talk about some bigger issues in the art community, how our definition of creative work is too narrow for the digital age that we live in, and how the reality of being an artist is far from the overly romanticized expectation. Just a heads up, I really want to get this video right. It's really important to me. And so I've got notes on my computer, and I'm mostly going to be taking the form of a voiceover throughout this video while you look at some footage that I've recorded throughout this year. I want to make this video in part because the accusations Morgue made against me are pretty serious and harmful, and I also think that this whole situation raises a bunch of misconceptions many people have, not just Morgue, about what it means to be an artist. Please do not send any hate to Morgue Design. I don't care what your reason is, I don't want you to do it. I think their video was made from a place of sincerely held belief, and though I don't agree with the argument they presented in their video or the conclusions they made about me, my work, and my intentions, I hold them no ill will. This is the first video of theirs to have gone viral like this, and I remember when one of my videos went viral for the first time and hit these numbers, it was the most attention, positive or negative, I'd ever received in my entire life. I was having panic attacks. It was incredible, but it also, in a lot of ways, wasn't the most fun experience. But Morgue's video has affected me and my community enough, and it's large enough now, that I think it merits a response. But I don't want to add to this stressful experience for them. I am not going to be clipping their videos. I just hope that at the end of this, we can all have an amicable solution and it doesn't have to be this whole divisive thing in our community. Anyway, part 1, Morgue's video. In their video, Morgue accuses me and several other creators of running pyramid schemes. Let's try and figure out what they mean by that, because clearly they don't mean that I literally run a pyramid scheme with some kind of downline thing, because there's literally no incentive for any of my customers to recruit anyone into buying the things that I sell. There is no mechanism or monetary incentive where someone who buys my products can funnel any more money to me by recruiting more people. So what I think they're actually pointing at is more of a vibesy kind of thing. I think Morgue views my content and the environment around it as unsustainable. They think I'm selling the hope of success, but not just success, a very particular version of success, only achievable by making the exact kind of art business videos that I make. In this view, my advice isn't really useful for monetizing your art or starting a business. It's only useful for parroting it back to the next level down in this supposed pyramid scheme. This kind of dynamic is, I think, really reasonable to be worried about online, but it's not what's happening here. My advice has been directly helpful to people starting and growing a small business. I have so many testimonials from past customers and hundreds of comments from people that have watched my videos and found them useful. They took my advice and they got results. I have helped prominent creators in this community better navigate brand deals to get paid what they're worth. I've helped people make their most popular YouTube videos ever. Someone who bought one of my educational products said that it made a huge difference in their ability to take their art full-time in less than a year. When I was still figuring out whether or not I wanted to make a response to Morgue's video, I ended up putting a poll on my community tab asking if it was a thing people thought merited a response. Most people voted no. I decided that I would make a response to this video because, again, these are pretty serious claims, and also this video is going to live on the internet forever, Morgue's video. And I don't want someone to come away from it thinking that I'm a terrible person. I don't know, call me selfish. But I do want to take a minute to highlight this comment that I got from this creator called Courtney Mermaid on the community tab post that I just talked about. She says, literally go look at my channel. Go look. See the 800,000 plus subscribers? That's from advice, free advice, mind you, that you gave me in an email once upon a time when I asked you for feedback. You have helped me so much. To maybe give more context here, Courtney is a small business owner that creates custom made-to-order mermaid tails featuring her own original artwork. I don't know her personally. We're not close friends. I've had like one email exchange with this person. I genuinely, sincerely wish her the best. And she's not making art business content. She's directly monetizing her creative work. I'm not taking credit for this person's success or the success of anyone that I've worked with, paid clients or not. The effort they've put into their business is theirs, and all of the congratulations and the credit should be given to them. But to say that my advice never helps anyone or provides no value is just not true. I regularly get comments and emails and DMs, too many for me to respond to, thanking me for the advice that I share online. Again, I'm not talking about people who exclusively or even mostly make content about the business and marketing side of art. I think Morgue's concerns about sustainability in the art ecosystem are reasonable, but these people who found my content helpful run businesses where they're directly monetizing their creative work. Everything from selling blankets to originals to graphic novels and webcomics. If I am a pyramid scheme, it's one step tall, one level deep, and that's not what a pyramid scheme is. That's called a business, guys. Morgue is completely entitled to believe that my content doesn't have value for them, and so are you. I'm not trying to make stuff that perfectly fits every single person's creative journey or their goals, but it does help people. I've never personally interacted with Morgue either in person or online, to my knowledge, unless they have an alt account. They've never left comments on any of my videos, never spoken in my community Discord server despite being a member, and as far as I can tell, they've never purchased anything from my online shop. I'm confused about how they're able to so confidently accuse me of running a pyramid scheme and scamming my audience, when as far as I can tell, they've never tried any of my products or been an active member in my community. Morgue, of course, had no responsibility to reach out to me before making these really public claims, but I can't help but wish that they had. I would have been so willing to connect them with past customers and hear out their constructive criticisms in private and have a chance to make changes if I decided that's what I wanted to do before they went public with it. I don't want to minimize the effort they put into their video. Videos take a ton of work. I will be the first to say that. But I would have personally put more due diligence into verifying some of the claims they made before they posted this video. Accusations like this can be really harmful for a small business. Sorry, editing Kelsey jumping in here. I hope the audio change isn't too jarring. It's like 10 p.m. and I'm in my bedroom at home, but as I've been editing this video, I realized that there was a really important point that over the course of writing and revising my notes for this video a million times did not get included in this version, and I think here is the best place to say it. I don't want Morgue to be driven off this platform. I don't want them to be canceled. I don't want them to feel like the door is closed for them on their opportunities in the YouTube art community. I think there could still be room for them here if they want it. I know they made a follow-up video saying that they aren't going to make art videos anymore. I think that's a shame, but I think and I hope that door is still open for them if they want to take it, because I like Morgue. I like their art. Based on their Instagram, we have a lot in common. We're both from Minnesota. I personally graduated from McAllister College and met my partner of 6 years during my time there. He was going to the U of M. We spent so many mornings together in the cramped Little Al's breakfast in Minneapolis before I would take the Green Line back to my own campus. And I have so many ties and connections to that state that honestly there's a really good chance that we have someone in common. Morgue and I also have a lot of common interests. Based on their portrait work, we watch a lot of the same YouTubers and both love Pedro Pascal, and I like their work. In another life, maybe even this one, I could see us being friends. And I feel bad that they posted their art on this platform and didn't get the reception that they wanted. I know they didn't ask for my advice and they probably don't want it, but I would gently suggest that maybe 12 videos over the course of a few years isn't really enough to find their footing. It took me a good couple years of really consistent uploads to find my creative voice and refine my idea for what I wanted my channel to be, something that is honestly still in constant flux. And I hope that Morgue stays true to themselves and doesn't give into the incentives of this platform in a way that compromises their own creative vision. And I hope that if they make more art videos, this online art community that has changed so many lives for the better, including my own, is welcoming and watches with an open mind. But that was the thing that I wanted to say. And now let's get back to the video. Part 2, making art. Someone might watch Morgue's video and come away thinking that I rarely make or share art, and that's simply not true. A big part of Morgue's argument is that I'm not an artist because I don't make enough art, that I don't post my work on Instagram or update my website frequently enough. And I'll totally admit to those 2 points. I do not post my work on Instagram, and I don't update my website frequently. I'm not active on Instagram. I haven't been in years. I don't like the platform. Leaving Instagram and not liking it is actually the entire reason that I started this channel. I tried to grow on Instagram for years and it never worked for me, and I tried this instead, and it did. Why would I be on a platform that every artist that I know of outspokenly hates, myself included, if I don't have to be? Also, yes, Morgue is totally right. Keeping my website extremely up to date is not my priority. I photograph and digitize my work a few times a year when I want to do a big shop update, or when the pile of stuff gets big enough that I just decide that it's time. Getting everything imaged at a high quality and color correcting it, and removing any little brush hairs or specks of dust or cat hair takes a solid bit of effort. I usually only digitize the pieces that I want to turn into prints, which means that I usually default to showing off my other work via work in progress shots and staged photos and stills from videos. I don't think batching those tasks and updating things in big chunks makes me less of an artist or diminishes the work that I make. For those of you that don't know, or maybe watched this video having no idea who I am, I'm a one-woman show. There's no team, no assistant, no editor, no brand deal manager. It's all me. I script and write and film and edit all of my videos on my own. Aside from one close friend, my lovely friend Mel, who helped me facilitate a workshop earlier this year that we will hopefully be able to hold again, I operate my business entirely by myself. Maybe that's something that will change in the future, but right now, that's where I'm at. And on top of all of the admin and the content responsibilities, I also make art. I go on hikes to take my own photo reference. I plan out the compositions, and I can spend weeks to months working on a single oil painting. For me, an art-focused video usually takes somewhere between a week to 2 months to film, sometimes longer. I'm currently working on a bunch of works in progress and sitting on unused footage from as far back as May. Because art videos and paintings often just take a long time, I'm currently working on a bunch of them. I've attended 2 oil painting workshops in the past few months, and I want to make videos on them. I've recently wrapped up a 4-month-long art mentorship this summer with an amazing instructor, and I've taken hundreds of reference photos on various trips, all things that I filmed that I want to make art about and that are sitting on SD cards and hard drives. It's been my mission this year to increase the production quality of my content and imbue my creative voice into everything that I do. That, for better or for worse, and in this case, yeah, for worse, often dramatically extends project timelines. I have terabytes of footage. You've been seeing a little bit of it in this video. I have this idea in my head of an art video that spans not just the process of a single painting, but an entire collection. This video would be something crazy, like 2 hours long, but it would cover the entire creative process, from going on that hike to doing those studies, to doing an entire thing of work. I don't know, I know it's probably a stupid idea, but man, I want to try it. I've come to view video making as an extension of my creative practice. I think that videos are art. It isn't something that I do for the exclusive purpose of marketing my work or getting a paycheck, and I would never recommend that anyone make videos for that reason. I do it because I genuinely love it. I have become so interested in video production and making art about art that I've become so obsessed with this idea of feature-length film style art vlog videos. My brain is just so cooked. But for what it's worth, this year I have been making a dedicated and concerted effort to post a way higher ratio of art videos compared to business videos than I have in a long time. In 2023, I posted 37 videos. 25 were about business and marketing and stuff like that, and 12 were about art. In 2024, I have posted 23 videos at the time of writing this script. 8 of those 23 were business and marketing focused, a huge cry from the 25 from last year. And 5 videos were pretty random things, like moving into my studio or my thoughts on Cal Newport's new book, Slow Productivity. The remaining 9 videos that I've posted this year are art videos, each covering the process of at least one piece. There is real, genuine effort put into the things that I post on this platform. I've probably spent thousands of hours practicing videography and video editing and sound design and script writing, making shot lists for my videos and analyzing my favorite films for inspiration. I've made it a huge priority to get even better at showing my creative journey in a way people will find compelling, and I've been doing a good job of that this year, frankly. These 9 videos are a huge fraction of my entire creative output for the entire year in terms of videos on this channel. It's frustrating to see that minimized into nothing or deemed insignificant or not enough. These videos feel like creative work. They feel like they should count toward the qualifications, I guess, my qualifications to call myself an artist. That brings me to part 3, the reality of being an artist. I understand where Morgue and other people are coming from and wanting to have a single clear definition for what counts as revenue from your art and what doesn't. But I don't think the line is that clear. I don't think it should just be revenue from your online shop or sales of originals and prints. We're living in a world where you can financially support your favorite artists by just checking in on their creative journey, by just seeing the process of a painting. It feels like too narrow of a definition now. I'm going to go on what feels like a tangent for a minute, but I promise it'll all tie back together. So historically, artists have been funded by wealthy patrons and even governments to give them the time and the space needed to make art. But the art itself has always been impacted by that patronage, from Michelangelo's ceiling frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, which he hated doing, by the way. He considered himself a sculptor, not a painter, to the countless portraits of aristocrats that line museum walls. The world is more complex than that now. That old system of patronage has become more crowdsourced, more decentralized, either directly using tools like Patreon or indirectly using tools like YouTube AdSense and social media creator funds. Artists are now getting paid for getting eyeballs on their work. And you, the viewer, can support the creatives whose work you admire by just enjoying what they're putting out into the world. That's kind of crazy if you think about it, right? This future isn't without its flaws. There's so many things wrong and so much stuff we have to work and try to fix, but it's hard to argue against the fact that making a living as a full-time creative or a part-time creative or making some amount of money from your creative work is more accessible to a wider group of people, especially those who have been historically excluded from the traditional art world, than it has ever been. I was recently invited to this event called Creator Camp. 80-something other online creators and I were flown out to Switzerland on this trip to get to know each other, to network, to make art, and to share our experiences in that beautiful country. It was gorgeous. I had a really good time. I was among the pretty few, like a handful of actual quote-unquote artists there. Folks that use paint and pencils and brushes, but our common definition of that word feels too narrow for the immense breadth of creative skill on display at that event. Everyone there was an artist. I wish that you guys could have, seen how talented everyone was. We all posted these little short films that we made, and I would love it if you watched them. They're great, total aside. But The poetry that was made, the short films created, the poignant comedy crafted, the cinematography, the songs that were sung, the music played, the photos taken, that was art. And many of those amazing creators are full-time thanks to the internet, thanks to the eyeballs on their work that their content generates, thanks to the brands that pay them for their work, our modern-day equivalent to the wealthy patrons of old. And it feels crazy to me that we discount all of the work these amazing creative people are putting into their content because it doesn't fit an incredibly narrow definition of what people think is compensation for creative work. I think we often cling to this idea of what it means to be an artist or a full-time artist that is unrealistic and harmful. Something overly romanticized and fundamentally inaccessible to the vast majority of people, and frankly, a definition that sets a damaging expectation of what it's like to have art as your job. Unless you are wealthy in both capital and connections, it is exceptionally difficult to spend the majority of your working hours as an artist actually making art. But this seems to be the expectation people have. That they'll be able to wake up every morning and just make art, and the pieces will sell themselves somehow, like magic. But like any other small business, being a full-time artist is work. Only a fraction of that work is making art. And I try to present as holistic a view as possible with my business. Again, painting an accurate picture of my experience and what this is like for me. I'm not trying to be like the end-all be-all definition of what it means to be an artist. I think this word has nuance, and we should respect that. Most artists don't have executive assistants or art dealers and do all of the work involved in running a business themselves. They're doing things like figuring out who their target audience is, where they are, marketing to that audience, which is an entire job in itself, running their online shop, getting product photos for their website, packaging orders, responding to customer emails, filing taxes, and oh my god, just a million other things that are all crucial to running a business. I've been very open and honest about how I struggle with this workload, how task switching between all of the hats that I have to wear is difficult. And I, of course, don't make as much art as I would like. I would love to live in a world where I could retreat into a little cabin in the woods and not have any responsibilities other than making the work that I'm most interested in. Who among us wouldn't want to live in that world? But that's a fantasy, and as appealing as it is, it's just not doable for me right now. It's probably not doable for you either. I don't want your takeaway to be that I don't make any art. I absolutely do. YouTube videos are art. Sometimes that art contains even more art, like my oil paintings. I have posted 9 videos of those so far this year, each covering at least one piece. And for every finished piece you do see, there are probably at least a handful that I abandoned or didn't deem good enough to make an entire video on. I have been getting negative comments on my art since I started posting it online. Since I was like 17, 18 years old, I've been posting my art in some form online, and there's always been mean comments. Maybe this makes me a thin-skinned, sensitive little loser, but I've become more selective with the pieces that I share on this channel. If I could only post so many videos, if they all take some amount of effort, I want to save that effort for the pieces that I'm really proud of. When Morgue's video first came out, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to respond to it, and if there were changes that I wanted to make in the way that I do things. I kept thinking of all of the extra stuff that I could do, that I could add onto my plate. I could make more videos, right? I could post twice a week. I could get back on Instagram. I could start posting on TikTok. But all of those ideas just filled me with dread. They were just extra responsibilities that would just result in me spending less and less time making art. I don't like Instagram. I haven't been very active there in years. I'm glad that Morgue has found more of a following and a welcome on that platform, but posting short-form video, for me at least, has always felt empty and unfulfilling, even if I personally know creators that leverage that medium to create meaningful work. It never felt like it was my thing. I really do sincerely wish Morgue the best. If you're interested in watching more of a response video, Adam Duff made a nice video in my defense. You can go and watch that if you want. I doubt there are any actions that I could take that would leave everyone satisfied here. I probably wrote like 4 or 5 different versions of this script, all that addressed this differently, and I felt like this was like, I don't know, maybe the best one or the least bad one. If you've watched all the way to the end and you have thoughts on what you want to see from me or the changes that you think that I should make, let me know. My current plan, insofar as I have one, is to keep making art videos and to keep making advice videos and continue to work on finding a balance between the two. I know this isn't sexy in the art community, but I like learning about business and marketing. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I think there's nothing wrong with sharing my knowledge with other people. I think people leave a lot on the table when they write off this stuff. And I think there's value to be gained in learning about it and sharing that knowledge with other people. Both my art content and my business content satisfy my inner artist. It's important to me that I do both. I don't want to give up either of them. I do plan, though, on starting an email newsletter, so not Instagram, not TikTok, an email newsletter, something zero algorithm that feels more mindful and intentional, where I can share photos of my work and the behind the scenes of my process. I'm also thinking about splitting my website into 2 different websites eventually, one just to sell art and one to sell educational stuff. So right now I have one website that's doing both. I'm thinking about kind of splitting it so each one feels more focused. And maybe eventually I will have the time management skills and the resources necessary to even have 2 YouTube channels. But I'm still torn on whether that's the best path. There's no easy answer to this stuff. Everything takes time and effort to experiment with, and because it's just me, there's only so many experiments that I can do at a single given time. I do think, though, that we need to have a broader conversation in the art community about what the term full-time artist really means, who can use this term and who can't, and how we define compensation from your art in a world where fans of your work can financially support you without ever directly giving you money or collecting a piece, and where brand deals and commercial work and AdSense are increasingly taking the place of the wealthy aristocratic patrons from history. I said this in the beginning, but I do not want anyone to send hate Morgue's way. We are all adults. We're all capable of being civil and respectful. I think it's better for constructive critique to stand on its own based on the merit of the argument and not to stoop to gross high school level bullying. Morgue is a small creator, and like I mentioned, this is probably not the video of theirs they wished had gone viral. But the accusations they levied against me were pretty serious stuff, and their video has enough views and has affected my community enough that I thought it was worth a response. Unless something crazy happens, this will hopefully be the only video that I make on this topic. I don't want this to turn into a back and forth. I don't want to become a drama channel. I just want to put this behind us. I want to address these claims. I want you guys to be like cool with me and with Morgue, and I want to get back to making the stuff that I am creatively fulfilled by and that you guys enjoy watching. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching this video and hearing me out, and I hope to see you in a more wholesome video soon. I'm gonna link my art videos in the comments. Please watch them. Like, be the change that you want to see in the world, right? Like, if you want more art videos, watch art videos. That's all. Sorry. Goodbye. I'll see you soon. Okay.